All right, so we're going to go ahead and kick it off today. This is the monthly A to Z's call, and the purpose of this call is for people that are looking to grow, build, and scale a sales team. Best practices around it, a place to get questions answered. For those of you that might be listening to this on the replay, which I know will be Natalie Southwick for sure. Hello, Natalie, and others after it hits up on the YouTube channel. We design the content for these calls each week based on who's on the call, what's happening in your business, and what would be most important for you to be able to have a conversation about, learn, or understand better to be able to go back and integrate in your business. So it helps if you come to the call with a series of questions or things you're looking to work on or work through. And since you are jumping on the call, Luz, on behalf of Alicia, I will jump in and just talk a little bit about why people build teams to begin with and kind of the structure of those. And then if it's okay with you, would like to ask a couple of questions specifically about how you guys are working. Does that work for you?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So since you and I are just meeting for the first time, I have been a licensed real estate agent since 2005. I sold real estate for 5 years full time before actually exiting the industry into another industry. However, one thing that I picked up during those 5 years was my husband. He wasn't my husband at the time. However, 3 years into that, we started dating, and ultimately that was at the beginning of 2008. So we spent 16 years working very closely together. And then about 5 years ago now, I entered and jumped out of my business where I'd been for the previous 13 years and started to work in partnership with him in helping people to grow, build, and scale their businesses and their organizations here. And the reason for that is because systems and skill sets are transferable industry to industry. And in real estate, we are in a people business. And so the ability to create relationships, nurture relationships, bring value to relationships, create opportunities where people can grow and create a better future, and continue to do that over time and scale to from what can start off as you and a transaction coordinator to something much larger that involves a lot more people. It's really step by step. So the purpose of these calls and these conversations, again, is to meet you where you're at in your particular business, and more importantly, where you want to go. So here's what we've noticed over, and just kind of why someone would start a real estate sales team. So I'm going to use team in a couple of different contexts, right? So if you're an individual agent that is selling real estate and you have a transaction coordinator, perhaps a listing coordinator, those are part of your team of people that you're working closely with to do business. And when I look at and talk about team in the next context, it involves bringing into that conversation other real estate agents. And so there's important foundations to have in place and how your business is running and how it's systematized, just if it's you as an individual agent working with a transaction coordinator. And if you take a lot of listings, a listing coordinator as well. But ultimately what happens is that if you're a very successful independent real estate agent, at some point you're going to reach your maximum capacity, meaning you have reached capacity for the amount of transactions that you can personally do. And what we know is that listings that are taken and marketed correctly lead to 1 to 2 transactions on the other side of that, on the buy side, typically buyers that come in. And so what that means is that when you have built up a business where you are at maximum capacity, your return on time, energy, and effort is going to be more strategic if you're focused on creating more listings and capturing more listings in the market, because listings turn into buyer deals and multiple buyer deals. And what that means is that at some point in your business, you're going to need to look at going, okay, I'm going to start to pass the business that I'm receiving in the form of buyer leads to somebody who will specialize in working with buyers as a buyer's agent. And what that does is it brings a layer of leverage into your business, and it allows you to have time, energy, and effort to focus on what you're focusing on, which is creating more listings in the marketplace, and continue to now have business that is still happening in your business, but that you now are leveraging your time, energy, and efforts through a team. a lot of people will say, well, why does someone, want to become a buyer's agent on a team and give away, a portion of their commission to the team? Well, that is because of all the things that they can learn as a result of being on the team, having the infrastructure in place of the transaction coordinator, listing coordinator, and the leadership of the team to be working together. And so some people will romanticize, in my perspective, the idea of having a team and be, oh, I want to build a real estate sales team. And the truth is they're not doing enough business to keep themselves busy, and they're not doing the amount of business that they want to be doing personally. And so what I would say to someone in that position is that go get yourself straight first, and then we'll look at building a team, right? Because if you don't have business and you're not generating business and a business hub, having someone else to help you with the business that you have, unless you're transitioning out of the business, which is a different conversation, is a specific strategy. So when we look at the ecosystem of how all of those things work together, what a lot of people will find is that, okay, I want to start and build and grow a sales team. And outside of the XP, the common experience is you invest a lot of time and energy into the agents that become part of the team. And when they become good enough, they ultimately leave. And now you've trained your competition in the market. So it becomes sort of a revolving door. Well, EXP, that's different, because if you've got somebody who's a really great agent that's on your sales team and they leave your sales team to go be an independent agent on their own, they're still part of your hub within your EXP organization, and you're still receiving revenue share. So it's a healthier ecosystem for investing. And now you're in the same market, but essentially you're working together of sorts and still able to be a support system in a different way. So that's the 25,000-foot view of the team. And then there's all kinds of different intricacies and details, like how do you determine team splits, and what is the culture of the team going to be, and who's a match and who's not a match, and when do I start to grow a team, and when do I start to expand a team, and where do I start? There's this whole, series of questions. But for today, Luce, you get like 100% of the floor because you are the only person that's here. So I'd love to just check in first off. That was a lot of information I just shared, and see what, if anything, you had questions on, wanted clarifications on, or just to discuss a little bit more before we move into you.
Yeah, so I know that you talked about having like a transaction coordinator. So I know for sure we do have one of those. I don't think we have a listing coordinator, however. Our team is pretty small, and also I want to say um about like a couple years old. So we are in Upland, EXP in Upland, and Alicia is the branch manager here in Upland. So we just expanded, and we're just looking to pretty much recruit agents to add to our team. So I think that's what we're more so focused on now. I know for sure Alicia has been in the process of finding an assistant, a real estate agent assistant, someone with real estate experience that can kind of help her out with transactions and things like that. So yeah, we're just looking to get some more information, I guess, and wisdom guidance on how that we should proceed with that.
Okay, so a couple clarifying questions. Number one, when you say team, are you talking about Alicia's real estate sales team, or are you talking about the organization within EXP that she is helping as the branch manager in Upland?
So when I say team, I'm talking about her sales team.
Her sales team. Okay. And so currently the sales team consists of you, and what's your role?
Yeah, I'm her assistant, but I don't have real estate experience. So she's definitely looking for someone who is a real estate agent assistant.
Okay.
um, yes. And then she does have a transaction coordinator. Um, what else? Yeah, so she has a few assistants, but as far as the sales team, it's mainly she works with lenders. I know that for sure. And she works with a few of them. There's a variety. But yeah, her transaction coordinator is the same every time, and then obviously her herself. And yeah,
Okay, cool. And and she is, aside from being the branch manager at the Upland office, she's actively selling real estate.
yes.
Okay. And how many transactions a year? Is it more like 10 to 20, 20 to 30, 30 to 40?
Ooh, I would say right now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10,
Just
11.
like look at the last 12 months.
Yeah, I would say more so like 20 to 30, especially for this year. We're at about at 11 right now.
Okay. And she's done all of those on her own.
Um, not all. I know some were out of state, so she definitely partnered with some other agents, some out of state agents. But majority, yes.
Okay. So how many referrals did she send out of state?
About two, two referrals.
So a total of 2 referrals out of state.
Right.
Okay. So that would mean 9 transactions. And of the 9 transactions that she's personally done, how many of those were helping sellers and how many of those were helping buyers, or that they were her client?
Let's see. Out of the 9, 6 out of 9.
6 out of 9 were what?
Um, the so sorry.
That's
Oh,
okay.
I'm getting a call. 1 second.
It's time for a tea break.
So sorry. I was getting a call. But 6 out of 9 was helping the buyer.
So 6 out of 9 buyers, and 3 of those were listings.
Yes.
Okay, great. And then what this would this would be a conversation for her since she's the team lead of the team, but as far as setting culture and what the vision is for the team, do you know what that is?
Um, just because I haven't been here for a while, I'm not 100% sure what her 100% vision is. And like I had mentioned before, we just expanded within the last 2 months. We just had like our office opening and all of that actually last week. So I think that aspect is definitely still in the works, but definitely needing to be established.
Okay. So this is where I would recommend that you guys start. Number 1 is establishing why. Why do we want to build a team? And when you think about that, or when she thinks about that, it is going to be it's going to be really important to get clear on that, because that's going to be what drives everything. So if the why is she wants to do more transactions, that could be the why. If the why is she doesn't want to work with buyers anymore and she wants to focus on getting listings, that could be part of it. The why could be much bigger, right? Is to create a better work-life balance. The why could be having to do with expanding market share and creating something that is ultimately going to be much bigger than she's going to be as an individual agent. The why could be that she's establishing something that she wants to ultimately create a family business with and have other family members involved. There's so many different things about the why that are really important to know. And then once that's clear, being able to communicate that vision to the people that may be coming into the organization. So here's, let me give you an example of that in our own sales team, is that we currently have we have a listing coordinator, we have a transaction coordinator, and we have 4 now agents that are part of our real estate sales team. In addition to Selena, who's the growth and operations manager, and Laura, who's the magic maker behind the scenes that does all the things that nobody knows about, but that end up happening, and we would know if they weren't happening. So the list is long. And so and then there's me, who's the team owner, right? So my job is to cast and set vision for the team and where we're going. And so one of the things that we're doing right now is we are refreshing the brand and repositioning the brand in the marketplace, because it's a multi-generational brand now, of third generation, with Rick's son entering the business. And we have an opportunity in how we're working where we are receiving, leads, and we're receiving a lot of leads. And
Right.
so the some people will want to just be part of a team to get leads, but that's not why we are expanding and growing the team. We're looking for people that are a cultural match, that want to work together, that are team players, and that want to thrive in their own businesses and be in a community where everyone's helping each other win and has each other's backs. And
Got
so that's a culture component of that, right? So when I had a phone call, an outbound phone call on Friday to somebody who used to be with EXP and left EXP several years back, the reason why I was even reaching out to that person is because when he was with EXP, Rick had so many great things to say about him, as far as a father, and that he was hungry, and that he was a go-getter, and that for the things that we look for, which are traits and characteristics of people being hungry for business, humble, meaning that they're willing to learn,
Mhm.
smart, and coachable. Hungry, humble, smart, and coachable are the four traits and characteristics from a cultural standpoint that we are really looking to have in people. And so when I reached out to him to see about, where he was and what he was up to, and if he was open to having a conversation, he said yes. And I said, well, this invitation isn't going out to everyone, because we're not just looking for bodies on a team. We're looking for a very specific fit and match. And if you're open to having the conversation about what's important for you and what's important for us, would love to have that conversation. So we're having that conversation today, right? But I'm very clear on who we are and what we're about. We had somebody within our organization that's already with us at EXP, that Rick brought to the organization, that wanted to join the team. And after a conversation, I said, not right now. And the reason it was a not right now is because I wasn't clear that it was a cultural fit. And two of the four traits and characteristics I did not experience at a high level. And
Got
so I know that if we start compromising on the things that we've set for the team about being hungry, humble, smart, coachable, that if those things don't stay in place, it starts to erode the culture of the team and how we work together. So there's a lot of intricacies. And what I would say to you, Luz, is that this would be a great conversation for Alicia to be in.
Mhm.
And because it's really going to be her getting clear on what the vision is and
Right.
why, and then getting clear on what the culture is going to be, so that you guys can determine, is this person a match or is this person not a match for our culture, right? And
Mhm.
then one of the things that we've done, where we didn't know, and it was, a brand, well, a newer licensed agent that didn't really have experience, but we liked her, because she seemed to be the hungry, humble, smart, and coachable. We said, well, we'll do a 90-day probation, and we'll see how it goes for 90 days, and then we'll reassess at the end of 90 days if it's working, and if we feel like it's a match, and if you feel like it's a match, we can revisit that conversation. So the reason why I'm sharing all that is that there's all kinds of different ways that you can determine, and it wouldn't be you, because you'd be part of the vision that's being set from Alicia,
Right.
but there's different ways to do it, right? And then that all proceeds, well, what are our agreements on what people earn and what their capacities are, and are they focused and only able to work with buyers and exclusively buyers agents, or are they going to be able to take listings as well? And what does the compensation for that look like, and how is it different, because there's costs associated with a listing that's not associated when you work with buyers. So there's a
Right.
lot of different levels and layers of how everything comes together. And it's important to put it together intentionally so that you have a functional team versus a dysfunctional team, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Perfect. So, that was a lot of information. But if there's anything that you would like clarification on or have questions around, what would that be?
Honestly, I think it's all pretty straightforward. I agree with everything that you said, especially really focusing on what we want the culture of our team and the business to be. I think that's very, very, very important that that's established very early on, just so when they are doing hiring, they're just looking to expand the team, that everyone is on the same page with that. So yeah, that's definitely something that I will bring to her attention. Let me see what else I wrote down. Yeah, I think I think everything was pretty straightforward. Yeah, definitely a conversation that she should be a part of next time this happens, 100%.
Yeah, and so then you're into like things like team agreements and contracts and what those
Right,
look like, making sure
right,
everybody has a contract
right,
and all those layers of decisions. But everything starts with the vision, right? Of what's the vision for the team that you're going to build and create, and why are you doing that? And then, okay, there's the vision. Now, what's the culture that's going to align with that vision? And then we go to work at putting the pieces together.
right.
Yeah. Fantastic. Well, I am of the belief that the greatest gift we have is time.
Yes.
And I know you have this all set up for an hour. However, if there's other questions you have or things that you want to know, I'm happy to stay on till the top of the hour. But if there's not, I'm fine to let you go with your day and we'll go with ours.
Yeah, I think I will go ahead and forward all of that information to her. Do you have an email or a way to get in contact if I do have any additional questions? Or when would
Uh,
the next time this Zoom would be happening?
Absolutely. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so that you know where our resources are. And
Amazing.
if she's a branch manager, which she is, it would be important for her to know all of the resources that you guys have available. Now you have those through Dream Chasers,
Yeah,
right? And then you may or may not have seen this site. However, Dream Chasers is a replica of this site with different branding on it. And the site is called Empire Builders Pro. And so Dream Chasers sits inside of Empire Builders Pro, which is why you're seeing this looking similar. But if you
right.
go under, have you seen this website before?
Yes.
Okay. So if you go under attraction and recruiting and schedule your three-way call,
Hmm.
there's my calendar
Awesome.
right there. And if you go to resources for the live training schedule,
Hmm.
you're going to see when these calls are, as well as all of the call recordings. And then tomorrow we're doing a builder's best practices. So this is more of recruiting agents period and how to grow, build and scale an organization using attraction, influence, skills, communication, word tracking, everything related to that.
Got it.
So that's where you'll find all that. So first Monday of the month is real estate, building the real estate sales team. And yes, all the recordings are right there.
Okay, amazing. Thank you so, so much.
Yeah, you're so welcome. It was nice to meet you.
Thank you
And
so much.
Laura, thanks for being on and opening up the call. We'll go ahead and stop the recording. Laura, will you
Yeah.
stay on? Do you have a minute to stay
Sure.
on? Okay,
Yes.
perfect.